What's up, Browns fans? Mike here. I am the founder, creator of this channel. Thank you very much for everybody who's looked at, watched all the other videos, the trailers that I've created, and the support so far. I appreciate that, especially to my bros over on Reddit, R Browns. Thank you very much for the support. And before I get started, please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do subscribe. We've got a goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers by the start of the season. So hopefully we can help us get there by pushing that subscribe button. And the notification bell also helps us as well because it gives you, the alerts when that happens. So this is the first episode of what I'm going to call Mike's Takes. So where I'm going to go and look at, the stories that are affecting Browns fans, give you my thoughts and feelings. Obviously unprofessional. I am a fan. I am not a paid commentator by any means, but I want to give you my thoughts because, I put a lot of energy into, probably more energy than I should, into the Cleveland Browns. So, without any further ado, I want to talk to you a little bit today about the Johnny Manziel being signed by the Alliance of American Football. So he was signed by Memphis. You can see Mike Singletary there in the corner looking just absolutely thrilled that he has Johnny Manziel as his new inherited quarterback. Optics aside, I also want to say this is the Puma Tim Couch jersey, by the way, not a Johnny. I do have several Johnny related items. I had a bobblehead. I had, I think, 2 different T-shirts for Johnny. So I was a big Johnny fan. I was very excited about it when we had him on the Browns. I think it's very lazy that guys like Colin Cowherd will compare Baker to Johnny. I think they're absolutely black and white when it comes to the 2 players. But it gets some clicks and views, so that's what he likes to do. In terms of what's going on with the Alliance of American Football, for anybody who hasn't seen the news yet, Johnny had been released from his Canadian contract with the Montreal Alouettes. I believe that's how they're pronounced. And he was free to go look for, some other type of employment. Obviously, with the success and the big, publicity coming out of the AAF, that was the one that he was looking to join to get the exposure as quickly as possible and try to even make it onto an NFL roster in 2019. I think that's a very tall order, but nonetheless, that's what he decided to do. So he gets signed by the Memphis team, which was, I think, the team that had the least amount of wins at this point. So they were the highest on the waiver wire. Just happened to shake out that way. I think if it was up to Johnny, he probably would prefer to be playing closer to Texas or in Texas. But Memphis is where he lands. So I think one of the interesting things about this is I think they're in a position that they're going to play him. So they're not doing well. The quarterback they originally had went down early. So I can't remember even who it was. Was it Sims? That doesn't sound right. I don't know. It was somebody like that who went down pretty early, and they're in trouble. So they're going to have to play him, which is good. So he's going to get some playing time. But I don't necessarily think that's going to translate into him being successful and getting to the next level right away. I have a running bet with my dad. He's a big Johnny fan. He thinks that he really thinks he's going to make it back to the NFL. I do not. So what I found was interesting about this press conference was some of the questions that they asked Johnny. And he said, one of them in particular stood out. One of the reporters asked, what would you say to yourself 5 years ago? Which I think is a really interesting question. I've been in situations where some business leaders and some other people that have done some really great things, and I've asked that question before. If you could tell your younger self something today that you've learned along the way that would help you, what would it be? I think that's a really important question. And Johnny's response was something along, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something along the fact that he wanted himself to follow what makes him happy and follow his passions. And what he realized along the way was he was doing things at that time when he was younger, when he was on the Browns, that was very temporary happiness. But there's more to life than just those temporary happiness. The drinking, the drugs, the partying with Drake, etc. So he realized that was just temporary happiness and wasn't going to give him what he was looking for long term. Also, he was dealing with mental illness, so he is working on that. He got married, he met somebody else, a more positive source of his in his life. So that's good. So he's made some positive changes over the last couple of years. I don't necessarily think that that's going to be what holds him back from joining the NFL. I think what comes along with Johnny Manziel is the circus. The same thing happened with Tim Tebow. So if you look at like when Tim Tebow went to the Jets, and when Tim Tebow when he was trying to go and get on the Patriots, that's a circus that comes along with that. So the New England Patriots, while they could definitely use a guy like Tim Tebow, and they saw that there was something there, he added value to their team. There's no way that a guy like Tom Brady, the guy with a huge ego, who's arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, is going to let some backup quarterback, some old Heisman guy, not an award that Tom Brady won, by the way, he's not going to let him take up any of the limelight in his New England Patriots. The same thing would happen with Johnny. So any team that would come on board with him is going to have to be okay with the circus. So let's say that he goes on a team like, I'm just going to pull this out of the sky, the Falcons, right? You think Matt Ryan's going to be cool with the backup quarterback getting a lot more light shined on him than a guy like Matt Ryan? Okay, so that's like the one scenario. That's the same like Tebow Patriots scenario. Let's now talk about Johnny Manziel going to a team that can obviously use him. They need a quarterback like the Miami Dolphins. Now you're a rebuilding team. So you're determining, you're like, all right, well, we're not really competitive. We're not going to be competitive. We haven't been competitive for a while. We need to rebuild. Do you want to do that with the circus? Do you want to have that rebuild with somebody who is really an unproven entity at this point? In the NFL, he did okay. He won a couple games, but there was a lot of the sideshow that came along with it. In the Canadian League, he did okay. He won some games. His statistically wasn't, amazing by any means. So what he's getting a chance, he got the chance with Montreal and now with the AAF based on his body of work that he did in college, and looking at the potential that if you have a Johnny Manziel of sound mind, could we just take all that talent and translate that into wins at this level? So, but does a team like a rebuilding team like the Dolphins want to take a chance at that? I would argue that they wouldn't. I would argue that they would say, hey, look at what the Browns have done. Look at what the LA Rams have done. They weren't good, but they didn't do it with a sideshow. They went and they were like, hey, we're not going to be good, but we're going to get that first overall pick, and then we're going to do something with that pick. So I don't see that being the case. I think in order for Johnny to really make it back to the NFL, he's going to have to show like a longevity of maturity. He's going to have to show years of that, and he's going to have to show quality of play at the minor league level, which he's on another bad team. Montreal was one of the worst, if not the worst team in the Canadian Football League, and now he's on the worst team in the AAF. So the level of talent that he's surrounded by isn't going to be great either. So to be able to boost those stats is going to be tough. So he's going to need that. And oh, by the way, the clock is ticking. So now he's in his mid-20s. At what time, are we looking at a 29-year-old Johnny Manziel in the league? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that window is closing very fast, and ultimately, I would argue that he sealed his own fate when he got booted off the Browns. So that's my take, guys. Let me know if you agree, whether you disagree, whether you think I'm crazy. Please let me know in the comments. Please also subscribe to the channel. Help us get to that 1,000 mark. We've got a lot of fun, exciting things ahead, all Browns focused, primarily Browns focused, I should say. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. Go Browns.
Here we go, Brownies! Here we go! Woo, woo.